culture is actually
There's a man down.
calling both games.
This week of Sportsball is brought to you by Raycon. With the everyday earbuds, the mundane becomes an adventure of sound. They look, feel, and sound the best they've ever been. And their optimized gel tips slide right into the ear and are as comfy as the warm winter fire. Best of all, they're like me on a chair. They will not budge. Raycons offer 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. Personally, I'm a fan of being able to charge these bad boys from any wireless phone charger. I don't have to finagle to plug a cord into a valuable USB slot. Plus, it comes with noise isolation and awareness mode so you can be in tune with your surroundings. There's a reason why they have over 50,000 5-star reviews. And it's not just because they come in at about half the price of major brands. It's because they're reliable. You can get 15% off your purchase by going to buyraycon.com/shoetree or by clicking the link in the description. Because with the everyday earbuds from Raycon, you know you're getting a winner. Perhaps this week of football will be such as well. The game itself doesn't matter. Since he won, I don't give a shit. All week we were told that Tua Tagovailoa had suffered a back injury, despite being visibly disoriented days before. He should have never been playing in this match. With him suffering potentially his second major concussion in 5 days, it merely proved that people need to be fired over this. He went into a fencing position. That's major neurological damage he might have suffered. Anything else that happened in this game pales to what happened here. I'll give credit to the players for still playing after watching that shit, but I couldn't focus on the game itself. All I know is that Teddy Bridgewater went in and the Bengals got back to 500. I wouldn't have released Tua after only 2 hours in the hospital, but I guess the NFL knows better than I do. It's all good. He watched McGruber on the airplane ride home. We'll see him starting next week at this rate. This year has been a shit show so far, but that doesn't mean it can't be allowed to infect the UK as well. England is dealing with a potential energy crisis, so why not add to it by forcing them to watch the Red Rifle for 60 minutes? No Alvin Kamara either, so what does that equal? The New Orleans Saints withering into a husk. Offensively, it's a mess. For both teams. You apparently want to send England your best and you're giving them 3/4 of this shit. But then the NFL remembered that they need to develop their international brand. His Majesty's Kingdom managed to get a game that wasn't a complete blowout. Ironically, they paid tribute to the allegedly better football by kicking absolute lasers through the uprights. Yes, even the Vikings. New Orleans even managed to wake up on offense. We have a game. The Saints have the lead after shocking displays of offensive competence, but then the bullshit commences. Adam Thielen is literally ripping Marshawn Lattimore's face off, yet this is solely defensive PI. The British know a thing or two about the refs fucking them over, so they'll accept the Vikings touchdown. And on cue, the Vikings miss the extra point to keep the game a 3-point score. New Orleans doesn't have the talent, but they still have moxie. And they'll go down to at least make it a shot. Will Lutz, they're gonna need a miracle.
For Will Lutz.
Welcome to the NFL, where the insane is normalized. A tie is the reward across the pond. Minnesota now has serve, and they'll do everything to snatch victory. But it has to come by overcoming trauma. The field goal.
Good snap. Good hold. The kick by Joseph. It is good!
The Vikings can make clutch field goals? We truly are in the end times. Too bad their defense can't stop a damn thing, and the Saints still have a glimmer of hope. Well, Lutz, they're gonna need another miracle.
Good snap. Good hold. Lutz's kick on the way! And it is off! The uprights! Double doink!
What do you call a double doink in England? A Welshman? I'm honestly impressed with Lutz. Dude did all of that from 60 yards out. I don't care if the Saints lost. Put that ball in game. Cody Parkey, you've got company for once. San Diego's sloppy seconds may be injured to hell, but even they can't lose this. The Houston Texans are commanding one of the greatest tanks the world has ever seen. They're young, they're hungry, and they're diving through the dumpster for scraps of rotten meat and moldy bread. It was a breeze for the Chargers for the most part. I say for the most part because the Texans nearly came back to tie after being down by 20. Still doesn't matter though, the Bolts still have Austin Eckler and a somewhat mobile Justin Herbert. Against Houston, that's all you really need to win. At 2-2, LA limps on for another day. Their curse didn't consume them today. The relentless march of Cowboy might continues without Dak under center. Nothing has disappointed me more as an NFL fan than Washington's much ballyhooed elite defense. It's showing as much power and might as the Republican Guard did during the Gulf War. As they implode, Cooper Rush has done his job. And that is win. He's taken Dallas from the brink of despair to maintaining pace for the division lead. Not to mention the Cowboys' defense has been clamping down on their opponents. Although that's relatively easy to do with Carson Wentz turning into Mr. Hyde for most of the game. It may be too early to confirm, but Dak is apparently aiming for a return next week. Even if he doesn't, Dallas is in good hands with Cooper Rush. Imagine saying that a month ago. This game near single-handedly made team defense regress at least a century. At least Seattle has the excuse of letting go of nearly every major piece and suffering injury. What about Detroit? If the Lions have any semblance of a defense, they would at least have a winning record. However, Geno Smith is out here proving to us all why Ben McAdoo had faith in him all this time. You've seen his stats, he's on fire. The Seahawks offense is cooking like they're back to the days of Chef Russ under center. You'd think the Lions would lie down and call it a day. This, however, is the beginning of the traditional Detroit cock teams. They'll sneak back into the game, roar to a shit ton of yardage and points, flash the talent that could make them something in the future. Then you remember they don't have a defense. Repeat this at least 3 more times. Was a glorified Big 12 matchup. Anything not related to team offense need not show up unless it resulted in points. This is for both sides of the coin. 93 points and 1,075 yards of offense surrendered by both teams. Seattle escapes from hell itself with a win in their flesh intact. The Lions may be 1-3, but they're a damn entertaining 1-3. One with scoregamis. Now only if Dan Campbell was any good at game planning or scheming. Will the Titans ever manage to properly finish off their opponents? Please, I beg of you, Tennessee. You do this every goddamn week and I can't for the life of me understand why. You start out cruising past your opponent. Indianapolis doesn't even look like a pro outfit with how they're falling apart at the seams. Ryan Tannehill is managing the game in front of him properly. Derrick Henry is rumbling like the football world loves him to. In front of a rival crowd, the Titans are holding a 24-3 lead in the second quarter. Yet it never feels secure. We know Tennessee's MO. They embrace the downing turtle. They become completely predictable on offense. Derrick Henry can't carry the team to relevance. The defense is forced to stay on the field for exorbitant lengths of time. Great, you're blowing it again because your coaching is inherently flawed. I don't care at this point. Just let the Colts tie the damn game and expose you fuckers again.
It's Taylor. Trying to navigate. Just needed a little. That ball may have come out loose. Tennessee's claiming they've got it, and they do! The Titans have taken it away!
Mike Vrabel, congratulations. You've just been bailed out of your own inefficiencies as a coach. For whatever reason, the Colts just cannot beat the Titans in Indy. They've lost 5 of their last 6 to them in their homeland. Everyone knows the truth. The Colts didn't win last week. The Chiefs lost it. I'd comfort you, but Jonathan Taylor might be out for a while. Goodbye, offense. It was nice knowing what that was like. We were all anticipating one of the ugliest games this league had seen in recent memory throughout the week. Like a lot of things in New York as of late, this game did not disappoint. It was a complete shit show and anything resembling competent play. The only thing that seemed to be working for both sides was the rushing attack. Chicago may not have had David Montgomery, but that didn't matter. Everything else was an absolute wreck. Passing, maybe gas because New York didn't try to throw and Chicago threw waves of defenders in Justin Fields' face. This is one of those games where neither team deserved to win, but a tie would be cruel and unusual punishment for the audience. We may as well pick someone to win out of a hat, so victory to the Giants. They now become the worst 3-1 team to apparently ever exist. The G-men have no wideouts, a porous line, no run defense, Daniel Jones got injured, Tyrod Taylor came in and he got injured, and Justin Fields can only throw one good pass a game. But you're 3-1. Small victories, New York, even if they're against shitty teams. Even if they're not perfect, it can't be denied that Jacksonville is a much stronger team than the last few years. Call it the homecoming effect. Doug Peterson is returning to the land where he won a ring, and then baffled with an inoffensive decision-making afterwards. Early on, the momentum was much in the Jags' favor. With a 14-0 lead, it was looking to be an absolute assertion of dominance. But this is the first lesson a young team must learn: overcoming self-inflicted wounds. Duval had a ton of them throughout the game. While it was raining, that's no excuse at this level. Trevor Lawrence can't botch snaps and fumble 4 times. With a team like Philly eager to stay undefeated, mistakes must be kept to a minimum. Impetus for action was taken by the Eagles, who proceeded to soar past their slumping opponent to maintain superiority overall in the NFL. Like many in this season, Doug Peterson did not get revenge against those that slighted him. He must settle for second best again. To be fair, it is an easy opponent to lose to. Keep your head up, Jacksonville. There will be other battles to fight. On the surface, this should be an easy win for Cleveland. Against a rebuilding Falcons group, the day they win is the day they'll throw to Kyle Pitts. However, deep down, it's closer than it looks. Injuries are wrecking the Browns. Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney are out. Their pass rush is decimated. Although I wouldn't worry about defense if I were Cleveland. It's their offense. Without Nick Chubb doing 11 billion separate heroics, it's absolutely useless. I keep thinking Jacoby Brissett could be something decent at the NFL level, and then I see games like this. That's why he's a backup. Atlanta was robbed of Deshaun by these fools, and they'll rob the Browns of this win. But first, a relentless wave of punting because nobody can move the ball. However, the Falcons did something unprecedented. They adjusted their attack. Cleveland's having trouble sealing away the running game. With the weakened defense, pound them into submission and let Younghoe Koo do the rest. It didn't result in touchdowns, but field goals were all they needed. It's enough to get them a 3-point lead. A stunning upset is in their sights. The only thing they need? A stop. Just one.
Brissett fires and it's intercepted!
The recovery from horrible chokes past continues on. A much-needed victory, if only for pride, is Atlanta's reward. Their first AFC North win since 2010. Cleveland must leave humiliated again, and it's by their own hand. That 4th down in your first drive? Just take the damn points. You don't have Deshaun under center yet. Don't play with fire if you don't have to. Then again, that's why I'm not in the NFL, I guess. People overthink this game far too often. Sometimes games just have to be played. Both these teams look absolutely awful in many aspects, but money has to be made. Plus, Zach Wilson's back in the saddle for the Jets. At this rate, we'll be sending an SOS for offensive help. The Steelers are completely useless at trying to move the ball forward, and their fan base is calling for heads. Meanwhile, Zach Wilson is trying to be the white LaMargarine. Some mixed results. All there is death. New York pulls the Philly special out, and Pittsburgh has to suffer through a white boy gritty. It's a painful 10-3 Jets lead at halftime, but then, a miracle. Kenny Pickett is in the game. Bless the football gods, for they have given this game actual purpose. Go and sling the ball down the field for glorious... Oh, motherfucker! We will ignore that interception. The Steeler might returns to the tune of 17 consecutive points. Dreams of going back to the Super Bowl flood the minds of Yinzers. But they forget something. The defense is limited by injuries and fatigue. Mike Tomlin's baby can't get off the field as the Jets convert 3rd and 4th downs ad nauseum. They bend and bend until they give up a crucial touchdown. Then the second sin. Their offensive coordinator is still Matt Canada. His scheming is pathetic. Trying to force passes results in, yes, a crucial interception. Thanks to the Steelers' stubborn ways, the defense is getting exposed without TJ Watt. Zach Wilson is not only pounding Cougars, he's pounding the ball down the field. Pittsburgh, you were hoping to celebrate with a win. Instead, New York will send you to hell.
They'll give it to Hall. Looking for the end zone, and
I'm not even surprised they lost to the Jets. The Steelers do this every goddamn year. 3 straight winnable games they pissed away due to themselves. Maybe it's not playing down to competition this time. Maybe the Steelers just suck ass. They did fluke their way to about 6 wins last year. Shut the fuck up. Perhaps this time Baltimore can manage to bury their opponent. They best not forget what happened here a few weeks ago. Buffalo looks like complete shit, and the Ravens have capitalized on the brutality. The name of the game is slaughter. and Bills are on the menu. How does it feel to self-destruct for once, Buffalo? The Ravens are up 20-3 in the second quarter, and a division lead is ripe for the taking. For a normal team, they would drive the stake right through their opponent's heart. However, Baltimore is not a normal team. Their offense gets chicken shit whenever they get a big lead. It forces their defense out onto the field for long stretches of time. You can't get passive against Buffalo, even if they are imploding in front of you. Those flames will eventually consume you. Can you take a wild guess as to what happened? Yes, the Bills managed to get back into the game. Who knew that a Greg Roman offense shuts down with passive play calling? Who knew that a John Harbaugh team can't seal the deal at home? Buffalo surely did. They're punishing them for their sin. When Baltimore tries desperately to reboot their systems, they keep making mistake after mistake. The game is now tied. But the Ravens get a chance to win the narratives. Lamar is compiling evidence to support his quest for league MVP. He gets them down to the goal line, but then Buffalo's defense holds firm. Even with their injuries, the Bills stand tall. John Harbaugh knows he has to win, and he will go for it on 4th down.
Ravens go for it on 4th and goal. Jackson fading. Jackson throws. Intercepted.
It might have been a mistake. The defense, being unable to hold the might of Josh Allen, continues to give up endless tracts of land. Not to mention the wonders of ref ball coming to fuck over Baltimore at the worst time. This is apparently roughing the passer. Another certified Jerome Boger moment. Scapegoat it all you want, but the Ravens shit the bed again. Their second blown lead of at least 3 scores in 3 weeks. Marcus Peters has every right to be pissed at John Harbaugh for his worthless game planning. He's merely channeling the emotions of every Raven fan out there. So while Buffalo snatches a win from Baltimore's grasp, we can only hope people get fired for this failure. The sad part is it'll probably be Marcus Peters or a Waterboy.
We blew it, Pants. What do you mean, we?
In this fight, we have 2 absolute morons thinking they're experts in jiu-jitsu, flailing around like it's interpretive dance. Even when you consider these coaches are 2 of the worst in the league, the unfortunate reality is that they are paid to be incompetent at the national stage. We are not. Therefore, we bitch about them on the internet. Despite not having the money and fame of these men, the Carolina Panthers have proven to be the kings of the shit pile. Matt Rule makes Hugh Jackson look like Vince Lombardi. It's hard to fathom, but with how terrible Carolina looks, even against an Arizona team that is functionally awful on offense, the claim is justified. What the fuck happened to Baker Mayfield? Did he suddenly morph into Johnny Football once he left Cleveland? Even Christian McCaffrey can't carry these sad sacks to any relevance. The fandom is getting pissed. It's gotten so bad they're clamoring for Sam Darnold at QB. Sam Darnold! Dear God, next week they'll be begging for Cam Newton again. The chance to fire Matt Rule are flying down from the seats as well. He's honestly lucky that contract he signed is a massive albatross, or else he'd be batted down at the line like a pass from Baker. The Raiders are desperate. Being the only 0-3 team in the league has its perks. One of them being you have absolutely nothing to lose. Josh McDaniels may be awful, but the coach opposing him has no idea what the hell he's doing. In the friendly confines of the black hole, McDaniels must make himself comfortable with his surroundings. The 2 things that will win the day for the Raiders: the running game and crucial turnovers. Melvin Gordon gifted a ball to Amik Robertson so blatantly you should call it a tax write-off for charitable donations. Josh Jacobs, however, was not into charity. He was into taking what was his. That being one of the best games he's had in his career. Las Vegas potentially saves their season with a crucial win. It's funny if you're Denver. You spend all this time and energy trying to fix your issues at quarterback and shitty offensive scheming, yet they've made no progress on that front. In fact, I might argue it's even worse than it was last year. That team didn't have sky-high expectations. This one does. And Broncos fans, I hope you like cock and ball torture as well. Javonte Williams is out for the year with a severe knee injury. Jesus, this might be career-destroying. The war between Darth Belichick and fallen Jedi Rogers has lost its luster over the years. Young apprentice Mac Jones is going to be out of this match. So we begin yet another tenure of the Madden-generated Brian Hoyer at QB for the Patriots. At least that was the case until Hoyer was knocked out with injury. Thus, their new sacrificial lamb is... hold up, I actually have to look this up. Bailey Zappi! Come on down and please, for the love of God, don't suck. That dubious honor would go to Aaron Rodgers. He looks like shit. Completely missing his throws, throwing like Devontae Adams will be somewhere in the vicinity of the throw and ready to chuck his entire team under the bus for shit that's his own damn fault. Green Bay is imitating a team to the east of them. They are playing down to competition. The fortunate thing for them is that the Patriots are starting a third-string quarterback, and they've limited the already limited offense for him as a result. Even then, both teams are stunningly moving the football. Points are being scored. Tied at 24, all of Lambeau is undergoing a combination of heavy drinking and angina. Romeo Doubs had a chance at a brilliant touchdown, but he dropped it on contact with the ground. Aaron Rodgers will have him killed in a few days. These teams must settle for overtime and the grueling slog of it all. The Packers get first shot. They fail. The Patriots can respond in kind. And they do with a 3-and-out. Green Bay finally realizes that they have to win this game to stay ahead in the NFC North. They don't want to be tied with the Bears, do they? It's an ending as predictable as the Lambeau Leap. Rodgers manages to throw with precision and Mason Crosby lines up to win the game.
For the win from 31, Crosby right down the middle.
Well done, boys. You beat a Wither team playing their third-string quarterback. Give yourselves a nice pat on the ass and run as fast as you can out of the building. This past week, a devastating storm hurled itself at Tampa Bay. It did not care for possessions, property, or life itself. It showed no mercy to anything in its path, as its destruction was widespread and relentless. I'm, of course, talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. There was also a pesky hurricane that went through the Tampa area as well, but Raymond James Stadium hadn't collapsed in on itself, so the game won't be moved elsewhere. It wouldn't have mattered. Kansas City is surging through their opponent regardless. Not just with that embarrassing loss last week, but think back to a certain Super Bowl in 2021. Remember how they got punched in the mouth all game? It's payback time, motherfuckers. The Chiefs took them out back and beat them with a crowbar. They bludgeoned them to a bloody pulp. Tampa Bay didn't even try to run most of the game. Tom Brady slung the rock with ease, it doesn't matter. That Bucs defense that destroyed their opposition? Not happening today. Kansas City needs to maintain superiority. In this scenario, I'd say that task was completed. It's not an NFL season without those boys from the Bay Area showing up to LA and smacking them around for rent money. What they owe is roughly what the Niners are paying Deebo Samuel this season. His in-game electricity could single-handedly stop the rolling blackouts in California. And whatever they're paying him still isn't near market value. The same goes for the Niners defense. Matthew Stafford is having flashbacks to his days in Detroit. His offensive line is a hot mess. San Fran's might chased him all game, sacked him 7 times, and destroyed any hope their opposition had when they were in the red zone. The score does not do it justice. This was domination. It marks the 7th straight time that the Niners have bested the Rams in regular season play. Now only if they maintain that narrative when it actually mattered last January. Lolcow of the week. Do people really strive for it? I say that answer is no, but like more than a few games on the docket, someone has to win it. This week we return to the college ranks for a very worthy recipient. Pitt football. When will people learn to never ever rank this program? Whenever you do, they absolutely shit the bed and remind us all why they're a glorified stepping stone for better jobs. I don't care that they're allegedly a 21.5 point favorite over Georgia Tech. I've seen this movie way too many times in my life. They'll have every opportunity in front of a crowd that makes a WNBA game look like a sellout and straight up prolapse on offense. I know I overused that term, but this was prolapsing at its finest. Against one of the worst programs in the FBS that had just fired their head coach and athletic director days earlier. The second half was comedy worthy of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pat Narduzzi adjusts his game plan as well as the Amish did to technology. The result? Complete self-destruction and the rightful winner of Lolcow of the Week. Even with this dubious honor, Pitt will find a way to disappoint and let us all down. Football is a brutal game. May the bell toll for the fallen.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Thus concludes another week of this sermon on the field. Amen.
Third down and 3. Quick throw. What a catch. Samuel stays upright. Terrific catch and run. One-on-one with Ramsey. Can't bring him down. Samuel. Highlight reel. Touchdown.